Welcome to the Cinephile Hissy Fit podcast, the tirade-filled movie debate podcast hosted by two film critics, two cool dads, and struggling teachers. I'm Don Shanahan.
And I'm Will Johnson.
If it sounds like we're on the same microphone, it's because we still are.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, we're damn glad to have you. Folks, this is all for tantrum's sake, where shared passions and high fives wash away any place for hate. In the end, we encourage you all to love what you love, but for now, the gloves are off, and we're in the same room, beating each other up.
Oh my God.
Doing all this shit. Will can actually now punch me in the face for all my bad opinions because he is still in Chicago. I did a joke when we tried to record this about him staying in my house all week until we record this again. No. It's been 5 minutes since our last show.
Yeah.
Please listen to our last episode on best Chicago movies and Chicago connections, Chicago stories, and things like that. It's great to have Will in person and kind of have that repartee on one mic and not try to guess what each other are thinking across, it's 2 time zones in a zillion states. For this episode, we kind of wanted to kind of put some more content down. And since you're on the road traveling, we thought, you know what, let's do road trip movies and road movies.
Yeah.
So our usual format is not going to be there for loves and hates, no bell, no timer, no nothing. But more about what kind of brings us here together and kind of the ups and downs of being on the road. Will, what brings now we know what brings you here if you listen to the last episode, but tell us about your little travel weekend here.
I did have a little road trip myself, and I think it would actually make, especially with a great narrator like my Uncle Gary, who is a thinking man and has a lot of great stories, it'd make a pretty fun movie.
This would make a good A24 indie?
I would say make a good A24, maybe an Amazon Studios, maybe.
It's not creepy enough for an A24.
But there's no talking lambs or anything like that.
Point. Shit.
But
Amazon's a good place to land.
But it's we had a good trip. So we drove from Chicago through Indiana and to Lake Dowagiac in Michigan.
All right.
Let's just go with it. So, a little 3-state road trip for my youngest daughter who had gone on her first plane flight the day before. For her to kind of drive through 3 new states is a pretty cool experience. But you do get the cool thing about road movies in general is you're looking at the different characters you meet, the different settings you're in, things like that. And I enjoyed it because you go from Chicago, which has its very unique style, and you drive through Indiana. It's a little bit more rural, and then where we were at in Michigan was a very a lot of farmland. There's also a lot of fuck Biden signs there, which was interesting. So that created a political discussion.
You don't have to leave the nest here in Chicago far to land in a good conservative hell. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. But no, it was kind of nice to hear about how people make a living differently. And then, also, I'm in Phoenix, and one thing that we take for granted there is the majesty of the mountains and kind of the wideness of the desert. Because I'm used to it by now. I've lived there for 20 years. So I'm kind of whatever, born, right? So I was telling my kids, when you're on the road, it's wow, look at this. Look at all these trees. Look at this wide farmland. And then when we got to Michigan, look at these vineyards and these miles of crops. So it was just that's kind of what the road movie experience is like too. It's trying to put you in a different environment.
I know the cliche is the setting's another character in the movie. And I try not to be that guy when I write and say that, but there are definitely some movies where you're at changes the whole dynamic of the movie. For sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. Even some of those Chicago movies we talked about last time where when you're in an imposing big city, even if it's doubling as Gotham City, it still has appeal.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
And and then there's nothing that symbolizes the fact that we're not, Phoenix is a big city, but it's not the traditional big city you think of.
Yeah.
But, when you say a city kid, you think of someone growing up in New York or Chicago.
Yeah.
But we are city kids because we live in a big city. You can tell that because me and my oldest daughter and I have the most intense farmer's tans. We're stepping in a lake and we're ooh, gooey. We're scared of little insects. Yeah. Meanwhile, the people out here and out there are just whatever. They're diving in. They're doing
drinking
whatever,
and pissing. So. Yeah, we're all for it. That's us, all right.
Yep, absolutely. So that's kind of the road trip experience.
Okay. Have you had you said this would be a good Amazon Studios movie. Have you? What's been the oh crap part of your road trip? Because nothing ever works according to plan. In a true road movie fashion, have you had a malfunction or fuck up along the way?
This trip,
Yet. Don't say today at 5.
Not yet, because today at 5 is a funeral, so hopefully nothing fucks up there.
No, don't fuck that one.
This trip, I'd say the only thing, and a lot of Chicago people can feel this right now, but they're working on a lot of the freeways right now, so we got stuck in a lot of stuff. So that's probably the worst of it. Nothing too dramatic.
It is the orange cone season. You are right.
But so nothing yet. I mean,
I wish good luck. No lost baggage on the way home tonight.
I have a sunburn. Does that count?
Nah, you in Arizona.
We don't go outside in Arizona.
Good point.
Like seriously, but I was telling somebody this the other day. My classroom I have the luckiest classroom at my school because it's 30 feet from the main office and the principal's office.
Okay.
And the teacher's lounge. So if I want to get a drink in the middle of the day on my lunch break, I literally have to suck it up and go outside and face the heat. So we don't go outside. So I don't get sunburned.
We still have 80, 100-year-old buildings here that aren't air conditioned for school. Because 3/4 of the year here it isn't beating down sun. It's cold as fuck. But every school here has, the cauldrons of furnaces, but sometimes no air. Yeah. So I'm blessed to work in a building there. So I'll take it.
So no sunburns in Arizona because we do not go outside. It's literally like an apocalyptic movie where it's like you can only go outside for like 3 minutes before you die. That's what Phoenix is like right now. So
road movies. Road movies are now with our love-hate format. Are there? I'll do what we did with the Chicago show. Are there road movies you hate? Or like that one's dumb.
Well, here's the thing. I
got
guess
a couple, but you go first.
Looking at the list, because you made a list of road movies, and I added a couple to them. Mm-hmm. It's really kind of a genre that it's kind of like a form of music that I must have missed because I was looking at your list and I was like, man, I haven't seen a lot of these. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that has something to do with that it doesn't appeal to me. I like the road movie, but I think I have to be in the right mood for it.
I agree.
Like I can't just go to the like I'm not going to see like a road movie. Well, for one, it's because like any other genre, I think it has its what's the term I'm looking for? It has its stereotypes of what's going to happen. You can kind of mostly guess what's going to happen in a road movie. Like they're going to come across this or that. I mean, you can have
it's one of those
really shitty ones like Green Book where you know exactly what's going to happen at every plot point. So, it doesn't excite me. I
do get tired of what feels like the formula of, anything that will go wrong can go wrong. Like 95% of the road trips we all take in our lives are according to plan. They're not
and very boring.
So they're not planes, trains, and automobiles where everything that can go wrong does go wrong. Now, if you're going to do that route and have that fun, how are your diversions? How creative can you create your scenarios, which feel like attached sketches almost of sorts? Mm-hmm, you're watching skits on Saturday Night Live. Like, what would happen if this little crazy thing happened along the road? Like, there's always, but too many of them are retreaded. Where there's always a hitchhiker scene. There's always a creepy gas station scene. There's always a unintentional racism scene. There's or a flat tire scene, or how many people are stranded in the middle of nowhere and there's no gas station scene. Like we are now living in a country where I'm pretty sure you can go to Death Valley and get a fucking tank of gas. So like I feel like some things are tired and antiquated tropes every now and then. Sure.
I like when people subvert them. This isn't a road movie by any means, but it's my favorite scene in a sequel. Not a sequel, but this sequel, Wayne's World 2. There's a great moment when Mike Myers Wayne goes to like a gas station to get directions, and Charlton Heston is there. Yeah, and he starts just waxing poetic about the traveling experience.
Like if you're gonna do that, you're right.
So that kind of takes it, the wise man. It kind of takes that to the extreme. So I enjoy subversion like that. Yeah. But like you said, it's you can kind of get stuck in the weeds with a lot of these plots and things that happen. So I guess it's just something that I have not sought out. So I've missed a lot of them because you've got quite a big list.
To me, since we're still on hate, the worst offender recently that pops in my head the most to me is Due Date, that silly Zach Galifianakis, Robert Downey Jr.
Never saw it.
You're not missing anything.
Yeah, this is Barbara Streisand in that. Or am I thinking of a different one?
There's Barbara Streisand has a road movie where she like drives with her son and Seth Rogen. It's called The Guilt Trip. My mother loves that movie.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to my mom.
Shout out to your mom
for she's like, you gotta see this movie. Not that my mom is like the Mike Myers, Linda character from Saturday Night Live where she's like a Barbara fan or nothing like that. But she thought that movie was funny enough that I should see it.
Okay.
But
did you see it?
I did, and I did enjoy it.
Did you enjoy it because your mom told you to, or
yeah, I enjoyed it because my mom told me to.
Because
but it's not bad. Rogen can, when you take the pothead humor away from Seth Rogen, he actually can be a very charming, back and forth, cool repartee
he
guy.
He can be a good dramatic actor too. See Steve Jobs, I thought he was great.
Okay, kind.
No, he was really. I mean, he's acting against Fassbender in a one-on-one scene.
True.
That was awesome.
But the dynamic with somebody who's as charismatic as Streisand, he can hang. He can hang.
Okay.
He's not too big for the room in that, or not too big for the scene in that.
Gotcha.
But no, another one that's, the Galifianakis one is just, it is what I'm talking about. They take the tropes where they just throw shit against the wall to see if it sticks. And yes, it's two cool stars, but it's Galifianakis playing Galifianakis, who's become his own caricature, where he's not going to be doing a Steve Jobs movie anytime soon. So I wish, because I know he's talented enough to do better, but he just keeps playing the weirdo.
They tried to give him something a little bit more serious with A Wrinkle in Time.
It still, you look at him and go,
yeah,
it's still Zach.
It was kind of the Jack Black King Kong experiment.
That's a
where it was
great example.
It's not quite hitting for me, you know. So,
yeah.
But no, what do you got? You got a list here. What else?
I do. Mine's next to yours. I'll go a little first. Shout out to our favorite 90s guy, Nick Clement, out there. Breakdown with Kurt Russell. Second show in a row, we've talked about a Kurt Russell movie going for Backdraft. Breakdown's a tight little thriller. Love it. Where it just that instead of taking a zillion tropes, take one road movie trope and escalate it. And it's the car breaks down. What happens?
I have a list on Letterboxd that I'm building, and it's called Stuff I Randomly Picked Up at a Blockbuster one day and it blew my mind. And Breakdown is one of them, because I rented Breakdown. I was like, okay, Kurt Russell, whatever. But that movie was amazing. Like it was, and like you said, it kind of takes the trope of the outsider on a road trip seeing things and really escalates it to the next level.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but my understanding is that the plot of it is that Kurt Russell and Kathleen Quinlan are on a road trip.
Yeah, Kathleen Quinlan's in there. Yeah, and, JT Walsh is your heavy.
Yeah, which is great. You got to have JT Walsh in a movie. And my memory is stating that at the time they either stop someplace in a rest area or they go someplace and she's kidnapped by a bunch of truckers.
Yeah,
and he has to go try to rescue her. Which is pretty
practical stunts. Really good.
Yeah,
good movie. And Russell out there laying underneath the truck doing his own thing. It's awesome.
What is it that our pal Nick calls it? A 90s programmer?
Yeah, the term he calls that I've adopted myself as well is 90s programmer. Your typical mid-budget $25 to $45 million movie. One good star to sell the picture, and just a tight work, not afraid to do R rating. Know you get your money back, and movie. I don't know what its box office tally was, but I'm sure it made at least its budget back, and then it's had its life on VHS and DVD. So
I think it was also directed by
Jonathan Mostow.
He ended up doing Terminator 3,
Rise of the Machines, and then he did U-571, that good submarine movie with McConaughey. That's not a bad movie at all.
Pre-Reconnaissance
for sure.
Pre-Reconnaissance, but also shirt off on every poster of McConaughey too.
Definitely.
This was when he was still doing kind of good character roles like Time to Kill, Contact.
Yeah, that would be that's like 2000. So he was just coming out of some of those hits, of those 90s hits. Yeah.
Oh, the potential there. But anyway, Jonathan Mostow, interesting name, kind of a forgotten name of directors, but knows how to direct a film. I mean, even Terminator 3, which isn't great. I mean, he hits all the beats. Has a good beginning and ending, so good director. Speaking
of semi-trucks and also more Nick Clement kind of movies, and shout out to Lauren Knight, our recent guest. Stallone's Over the Top is a blast. Yeah, that's a road movie. Same thing, like road movie, truck driver stuff, but it's still a sports movie in a weird way with the whole arm wrestling thing.
Very niche sport.
I'd say so.
Pretty intense movie.
I love the bad guy at the end.
Yeah. That's a good one. Is that a Canon film? I feel like it's a Canon film. Okay.
We have our Canon fans on the podcast here that are mutual friends of ours, where that'll go over well.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm trying to remember the dude's line. Oh, it's the big arm wrestler guy at the end, the villain of the movie. Like, what did he say? You ain't shit, and just boom, just nails the guy. I forgot his line where he just looks at the guy. Everyone's, of course, sweating 6 inches away from each other's faces. He just spits sweat in this line, nails this man's hand out. It's awesome.
It just reminds me of that there is kind of a trope of arm wrestling where there's a lot of body horror. I was thinking of Twin Peaks: The Return, where Cal McLaughlin like destroys a guy's arm. Black Widow just recently had a scene like that with Red Guardian. There's always some intense, but to make a whole movie about it is pretty wild. Yeah, that's very Stallone-esque.
I'm a crazy for Swayze guy, so another little aughts and 90s style movie is Black Dog with Patrick Swayze, late career Patrick Swayze movie. I think Randy Travis, the country singer's in that movie too. Decent little, like, that's more, I don't know if it's more of a road movie than action movie that just happens to have semi trucks and shit.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What do you got? What's a winner for you?
Well, I got some, there's probably the quintessential road movie that also I think kind of changed the landscape of filmmaking in general in the 60s, which was Easy Rider, directed by Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
What I like about that is it's literally capturing the consciousness of a generation who's going through life, trying to go against the status quo, and they're coming up against these forces against them, literally like other suburbs, other places, going against them. The only thing I would give that 5 stars in Letterboxd, I give it 4.5, only because I think the ending is
you fuckers in your halves. I can't do halves.
I can't
whole stars.
I can't do the very ending. I think the very ending is a cop out. I think whenever this happened when Kevin Smith directed Clerks. He didn't know how to end the movie, so his original ending was shut up. His original ending was someone comes in and shoots Dante and kills him.
Oh jeez.
And somebody said, "You don't have an ending, do you? That's why you did that." So I kind of think that like you have this nice subtle statement on culture, counterculture, bit of Easy Rider, and then at the end a bunch of hillbillies, shoot them just for being them.
Yeah.
And I thought that's a little too heavy-handed for me, but the rest of the movie is pitch perfect.
Yeah, movies do like that do need to find a coda that isn't confrontation. Like like you're working at a convenience store. 95% of convenience store workers probably have never had a gun held to their head or any level. So like, you know what? Have a conversation, have the closing sign turn around and come back and pretend like that world goes on the next day. Wouldn't be that hard to do. But again, for movie purposes, you got to have something. So. Yeah,
but Easy Rider I think is pretty... I like to put myself
iconic, man.
in the... It still hits now, which is great because, a lot of older films, they don't hit sometimes anymore because they've been done to death 100 times.
Right.
But this one still hits, but also it's just... I like to put myself in the context of the time and think about like, wow, what was my, this is probably something my, my grandparents probably saw. And were like, what the hell is this?
These,
like
these hippie guys in their motorcycles.
So I kind of love that idea. Like I like to put myself in that context and really do that.
That was going to be a question of mine about these little lists and road trip movies. Like which road trip movie would you want to most be sitting shotgun on?
Well, definitely not Easy Rider.
No.
I'm not an outdoorsy person, as I've indicated already with my Michigan trip.
Sunburn.
Oh my God. Oh, Gooey Lake.
Can't take you anywhere. No.
But
like fly on the wall, which one do you want to be on? I know my answer, but I'll let you roll.
Well, okay, this is not a very good movie, but I would like to do it. Would be Fanboys. We talk about Fanboys.
That would be cool.
I think the movie is awful.
The movie's awful. I like the message
very
and the
last line. The very last line is hilarious. Where it's like, what if this sucks? Like,
I know,
which was true. And I like that George Lucas was game enough to let them film at Skywalker Ranch. And of course, there's a Shatner cameo because they got to play up on that. And it's
fun. It'd be a fun crowd to be with. Not a very good movie.
Exactly, a fun crowd to be with. I would say the same thing about. I don't know what your take is on Kevin Smith, but.
Hit or miss for me.
Hit or miss. I
like his early stuff is Chasing Amy. His early stuff is amazing. Somewhere along the way, he just got off the rocker.
Yeah,
but get to Tusk
But he's got 2 road movies essentially. He's got Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and he's got Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Yeah, I've not seen the reboot.
Reboot, I got to see it on a big screen, which was cool.
Yeah,
it has a lot of heart to it. You can tell it's post heart attack. Kevin Smith, he's got his intentions are a lot. It's not as harsh. It's very touching.
I welcome that version of Kevin Smith if he shows up. Because Chasing Amy has a tremendous amount.
It also has the return of Holden McNeil from Chasing Amy. He comes in the movie. Ben Affleck shows up, and he makes, just like we were talking about George Lucas, he has a lot of scenes where he makes fun of himself for the Martha stuff and Batman. But Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, I saw that 7 times in the theater because I was and God, I hope no one from my school is listening to this. But my freshman year of college, I was quite the pothead wannabe.
Okay.
Jay and Silent Bob were like heroes. I had a Snoopy's cap. So we saw Jay and Silent Bob all the time because it was just like a pothead anthem, But it is a fun road movie, and it does have great things. And this is the other thing, and this should not surprise you.
Okay.
But the reason why I love the MCU so much is I like connected universes. I like when it's done well. People forget the MCU has done it on a mainstream level, but Kevin Smith had a cinematic universe.
Like that about him,
People forget that, but when the cool part about watching those early Kevin Smith films is you could watch Chasing Amy and there would be a connection to Clerks characters. Or you could watch Mallrats and know that this takes place the same day as Clerks or the day after, or some characters cross over, some show up in other movies, just like Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was almost like the Avengers of its time, because it was
it all smashes together.
Because it was like, let's bring every character from every Kevin Smith movie together. In this, you get to see Clerks again. You get to see Chasing Amy. You get to see Mallrats. You get to see Dogma. You get to see Jay and Silent Bob. But then you also get to see these like twisted versions of Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and Wes Craven, who I'm going to talk about. Like my favorite, of course, is I love when celebrities poke fun at themselves.
I agree.
And I love that scene where they're filming Good Will Hunting 2 hunting season, and Ben Affleck's like Gus Van Sant, one of the preeminent indie directors. And he's like, Gus, any direction here? And Gus Van Sant's just counting money. And he's going, but Ben, I'm busy. I'm counting money. Just I love little stuff like that. But anyways, sometimes you get some weird crossovers, like Jay and Silent Bob show up in Scream 3, which whatever the hell that is. But I think Jay and Silent Bob, the fact that they go from the quick stop in New Jersey and travel all through the country and eventually end up in this twisted version of Hollywood is a really fun story. And some of the jokes, it's a little 2000s humor. It's not quite the same, but I would say that was a quintessential road movie for me, because you're on that journey with these ridiculous characters that should not have their own movie, but they do, and it works. It works. So
the road trip I would be on, Smokey and the Bandit. I want to smuggle beer across state lines. I was going to say,
you got a mix of danger in it, because you could get caught.
Sally Field is hot, at least for her era and time. Burt Reynolds is the coolest motherfucker in the world. And then, you got a Trans Am, but eastbound and down, like just all the fun of that movie and the people around it would be like, don't get me wrong, I'm looking at other road movies, like I don't want to be chased by the law. I don't want to go to Queen and Slim. I don't want to drink that much wine with the Sideways Boys. Dumb and Dumber is a little bit of a haphazard thing, but I'll take Smokey and the Bandit.
I think hanging out with the Sideways guys would be pretty fun.
That would be, that'd be
hanging
fun.
Out with Thomas Hayden Church would be fun. I think hanging out with Paul Giamatti would
get tired of Paul Giamatti. Not that I like Merlot, because I don't like Merlot, but it would get tired. Is that a good road movie for you? Because Alexander Payne had Sideways. People call it Nebraska road movie. I can't stand Nebraska.
I was in
bored to tears.
No, I love Sideways. I think the performances are great. I think the movie's great. I think I think it has that. It's kind of like a micro road film, because they're really only like in wine country, so they're not like traveling across the country. But I do like the idea that they meet, like in Alexander Payne fashion. It seems like everybody has life to them, like a bartender at a restaurant has a life to him, like a waiter at the restaurant. The world seems pretty lived in, and then I think Alexander Payne said something about all his movies, he likes to have the most awkward, uncomfortable sexual moments. And obviously Sideways has that amazing moment where I just think of my dad laughing because he just howls with laughter. Is that naked fat guy running at the car and then bashing his penis against the wall, the window. Anyway, another one I would put that I do not want to live in is, and this is a great film, and a lot of people think it's not very David Lynchian, but it actually very much is. It's The Straight Story. Have you seen The Straight Story?
I have not. Super blind spot. I need to fix that.
Okay, I don't know if you'd be bored to death or not, because it is
it's small.
It's super small. It's
Farnsworth
super
has
slow.
And Farnsworth has that warble where you're either into where he's going or
yeah,
not.
And I think he had an Oscar nomination for that.
Yep.
I think he filmed it while he was dying, so there's kind of an
this is it kind of thing.
Beauty to his role. And the film, Lynch in very metaphorical terms and very high imaginary dramatic forms talks about existential angst and dread, and like Eraserhead's all about being a father, even though it involves a little baby and a person living in the thing. But this one deals with growing old and dying. I mean, it's literally
that is its own.
I mean, the story is literally about a dude who he's self-sufficient. He won't accept any rides like I can't remember where he lives. I think he lives in Nebraska or something. And he has to go see his dying brother, Harry Dean Stanton, and he refuses to have his a little bit, I think she's on the spectrum, daughter, Sissy Spacek, won't let her drive him there. He says, I got to do this myself. So he gets on a tractor which goes about 5 miles an hour, and he goes across country. But he meets all these people on the way. There's moments like where he sees a dead deer in the road and they reflect on that. But there's a beautiful scene where he talks about being in the war, and he was a sniper in the war. It's just, it deals with a lot of heavy issues about life and death. And
there's the thing, a good road movie would take a place with shenanigans and put real people there. And that's a cool thing.
I actually think Straight Story is almost a better version of No Man Land, in my opinion, because
without sight unseen, I'll back you there.
It deals with the same concept that No Man Land does. It kind of deals with these kind of lost groups of people, because as he goes through towns, he'll meet struggling farmers or stuff like that. So he's kind of seeing this kind of forgotten culture of America. It's pretty interesting.
I know I get shit for this from the Fancy Pants critics, but No Man Land, because of the presence of Frances McDormand and bringing a camera to these very established and supported communities of, slightly outcast kind of people, it still feels put on. It doesn't feel as raw as just the people you meet. This looks like I know where to go, and these people are here and they exist, and let me hang with them for a bit. I'm not saying No Man Land's not genuine. It's just, I don't know, not as it counts as a road movie.
But
I
think that, I agree with you. It feels like the fact that it's using real people feels more like a gimmick and precious.
Yes.
Whereas like with her other film, her very superior film, The Rider,
agreed.
It's almost like it's
you
so
cast
real
the real
people
to play. Yeah, totally. But as soon as I see Frances McDormand, I'm like, I'm in a movie. I know she's a fantastic actress, and she's dialing down the firebrand that is Frances McDormand. But I still
you get to see her shit in a bucket, so you get to see that.
I do get to see Bush.
Yes, right.
Yeah, we're going there. Yeah.
Speaking, I'm going to sidebar here for a second.
We're sidebarring what pubic hair in a road movies. Okay, here we go.
So
top 5 pubic hair scenes.
And this involves the same actress. But
okay.
Whatever happened to seeing Bush in a PG movie? So I was recently watching 1941.
Yeah.
And they reenact the scene from Jaws where she takes all her clothes off.
Right.
You get to see full everything.
Yeah.
She jumps in and then the twist on that one, and it's a little sexual too, is the submarine comes up from under her and she grabs onto the pole naked, and the pole rises her up. Boy. I was just thinking, Jaws, even No Man Land, I know it's rated R. It's only rated R for that scene, which is silly because it's not sexual.
Language?
I don't even remember language.
I don't remember.
But like, whatever happened to seeing nudity in Airplane had boobs in a PG movie? Whatever happened to nudity in PG? Let's get that back.
What do the rules say? Non-sexual nudity you can get away with. Like, I remember, what's the PG movie where I'm like, boobs? And
Medicine Man?
No.
With Sean Connery?
Doc Hollywood with Michael J. Fox. The girl gets out of the lake. Julie Warner.
I've never seen it. She's naked in that movie?
She's naked in that movie.
Oh, right, that. All right.
There you go. But I think that movie is either PG or PG-13, and it's non-sexual nudity, but it's boobs. You know, like
Yeah,
you look at the rating and you'd be stuck there. Swamp Thing's got the nudity you talked about.
Oh,
and,
that's fantastic. Well, Swamp Thing has a very interesting history with nudity because Adrienne Barbeau, lovely lady, has
beautiful,
many beautiful assets to her performances.
Assets are a strong word to put that.
She did nudity only for the European cut of that movie.
Okay.
So, but what happened was
that's the other thing we could say about this is that the American culture just doesn't hang the way other cultures do, where that's going to be here, not going to be here.
But what happened is when they were, because I learned about this researching from a Wes Craven event, when they did the US version for DVD, they actually accidentally put the European version. So when they released it, everyone got the European version, and she has not full frontal, but just massive Adrienne Barbeau boobage.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, what the hell is this? It's PG. All my kids are watching this. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Great,
Anyways.
Yeah, great digression. No, I think let's jump to number one. Favorite road movie of all time for me is I'm a split person between National Lampoon's Vacation, because I think Clark Griswold is the best movie dad ever, because dads are fallible, dads are fuck ups, dads are failures first, but they're loving and they mean every great intention they do. Yeah. Where I know that movie also takes every shenanigan in the world and takes it up, but I feel like that did it first, at least before some of these other movies. But National Lampoon's Vacation or Dumb and Dumber. Okay, those are my two top road movies.
I was going to say, as fathers, and I'm not in a relationship currently. I mean, you're married. We all come across the Christy Brinkley moments too, where we're driving and we go, "Holy shit, my wife is right here." But so we've all been there. So we're innocent. We're dads. We're not dead. It's
we're
dad, not
either.
dead. We don't have an E in there. It's dad. But no. So Dumb and Dumber, huh? Okay, I got you on that one.
As a road movie, I guess that's a road movie.
It is. Yeah. It is. What was the great point you were making? Did we do this on the Ruminations of Red Rum podcast, whatever the hell it's called?
Sorry to butcher your show again, Mitch.
What
we talked about?
We were talking about how I hate. What do you call it? Method acting.
Yes.
And didn't you make a point? You were like, Daniel Day-Lewis, great actor. Yeah. But could not play Jeff Daniels.
That's the thing. Like, to me, I'll go there. A real actor is a true chameleon, can do anything. Like, and I do call it the comedian test. Like, as great as Daniel Day-Lewis is, you could not play a part in Dumb and Dumber. Although Jeff Daniels can do Dumb and Dumber and then blow our asses away in stuff like The Newsroom, where he's stoic and he's amazing, or he's in Speed, or I'll go to Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey to me is an underrated because of all the shit he gets for being comedy. I think he can hang as a dramatic actor.
Absolutely.
You know, where, but at the same time, could the great dramatic actors that besmirch the Jim Carreys of the world come down and do Ace Ventura, come down and do Lloyd Christmas, and they can't. Yeah. So that's.
Or they could, but they don't allow themselves to. Like Sean Penn. Sean Penn was a fantastic, funny actor in Fast Times, and then just never did that stuff again.
Some guys can do both and do both convincingly, even if it's for shitty parts. Like, for example, Robert De Niro, to me, is... Robert De Niro hurts my soul, because we all know Robert De Niro is one of the best actors, period. And his dramatic chops never have gone away. And he can prove it every now and then when they come out, like The Irishman and the things he's done late career here, even his small place in American Hustle, like his current last 10-year stuff when he wants to is good. But then at the same time, he's fucking making Bad Grandpa and a zillion dumb, I'm cashing a paycheck comedies. And he used to, I feel like, could convincingly do both. But now when he does comedy, it's a caricature of Robert De Niro.
It is. Well, that was what made Meet the Parents so novel, was that you were like, oh shit.
When he did Analyze This and Meet the Parents, that was the high point where I'm like, holy shit, he can do comedy and he's brilliant.
Right.
And other than like the old Scorsese stand-up comedian one.
But that's a tragically
uncomfortable
role. Like, that is not a comedy.
But that 90s peak we're talking about, that's when De Niro was at his peak of his powers, because he could do it all. But now it's, I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, and
Pacino's the same way.
Don't even get with Pacino and Jack and Jill.
But Michael Caine's the same way. Like, Michael Caine, brilliant comedian, has shown he can do drama, but now he's just cashing paychecks. Morgan Freeman, brilliant dramatic actor. We've seen it. He's cashing paychecks doing dumbass comedies. So it's hard for me to see those people who can do both and have so much talent just I don't know, make real crappy choices.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy had him for years. He's coming back, which is great, but
is he
trying?
We've had this discussion.
Dolomite's my name.
I like
not bringing back all the way,
but then I hated coming to America. Maybe
see that now we're back to the cash grab. They're just doing parts for the sake of doing parts.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see what is he. Are we still getting in Beverly Hills?
I hope so.
4?
I'll watch it.
I'll watch it too. But if it's going to be, I know you though. If it's just going to be nostalgia checklist, the movie like Coming to America, you won't like it either. Give me a hard R cop story, I'll like it.
Yeah,
like the movies were.
Yeah.
All right, you got those are my 2: Vacation and Dumb and Dumber. You got a top road movie?
Or
top road movie moment even?
Well, we talk about best and favorites with you. I mean,
yes, sir.
I would say that I'm going to go with the 2 I said. I'm going to go with the best Easy Rider.
Yeah.
Favorite Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah.
I could pop that on comfort movie. Feels good.
Here, lightning round. Other little standouts come and get you all the time? Yes.
So we actually just watched a clip of this before because I wanted to show you.
I had to remember.
So I haven't seen Pee-wee's Big Adventures since it was in the video age. So because it came out in, I think, 85, I would have been 3.
Yeah.
We probably rented it when I was 4 or 5. And there's a scene with Large Marge. People will automatically be traumatized when they hear that name.
I gotta look at the actress that played her while we're talking.
So
Go ahead.
So I showed Don the clip, and it's the only thing I remember about the movie. It's Tim Burton's directorial debut, I believe.
That would be.
And it has a very Tim Burton moment where basically this caustic, depressing semi-truck driver woman is talking about horrible accidents, and then she turns her head and turns into this giant Tim Burton
claymation creature. Yeah.
And it's so frightening, and it's literally left a mark on my brain. So that is a road movie.
Yeah. That is Alice Nunn. She is 83, and I believe still with us. That's pretty amazing.
Oh, cool.
Now, little moments for me. I know for most people's lists of road movies, it's always number 1. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. There's a zillion little moments there where they have fun.
I think Steve Martin is too mean in that movie for me.
That's a fair point.
I don't think he's flawed. Like, they don't make him...
It's hard because we love Steve Martin, so to see him play an asshole,
but he's so mean that I think it makes any redemption arc for him really hard.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Because John Candy is so nice. It's almost like they needed to give a softer edge to Martin and maybe a little bit of a harder edge to John Candy, but John Candy is...
But it's a villainous movie, so it's difficult to get
But he's so sweet in that movie that when Steve Martin treats him so bad, it's really hard to get that emotional connection at the end where it's like, hey, come home to have Christmas with us. It's like, why the fuck would I want to spend time with you? You're an awful person.
Oh, lightning round. I love that you brought up Fanboys. Like you said, not the best movie, but a cool journey. Like if you were to put yourself in that journey. Queen and Slim, ballsy, amazing movie from a couple years back.
You have Starman?
Starman I put on there.
John Carpenter film.
Carpenter, yeah. That's a good. I almost said, would that be a road movie I want to be on? And I mean, don't get me wrong, Karen Black's amazing, but
Nancy Allen, I think.
No, the chick from Indiana Jones. Karen, it's Karen Black.
No, that's Nancy Allen.
Karen Black
is...
I thought Nancy Allen is the chick from RoboCop. And Carrie.
Oh, yeah. Is
it Karen Allen? We're mixing the two together.
I was going to say, because Nancy Allen is gorgeous, too.
I've been day drinking, people. I'm sorry about that.
It's all good. No, so we got to mix up there. Because I was going to say, Karen Black is the...
old school. Yeah.
She's like the singer ditzy one who's been 5 Easy Pieces.
Right.
And
Yep.
She's an Easy Rider as well.
See, we're making segues. Making a lot of horseshit.
Even if we're falling down the stairs, we're still getting to a destination.
All right. But no, man. So great to record with you in person. Thank you for making the road trip here to Chicago. Good luck today with your family affairs.
Absolutely. I'm going to be full probably by the time I get there. I'm going to be fat and hungry.
I got to take I'll close the show with this little nugget here. For me, the first rule of travel is don't eat or drink anything you get at home. Will drunk texted me last night, or drunk dialed me last night about. I don't know if he was drunk, but he was hungry texting me last night that he was in a drive-through line to go to White Castle. I'm like, why the fuck would you go to White Castle? Also, by the way, good road movie. Harold and Kumar go to White Castle.
I was gonna say that's a good one, and Guantanamo Bay, not so much, though it has some great, very specific post 9/11 humor that I appreciate.
I agree with that. But you're texting me last night or Facebook messaging me last night about being in the drive-through line for White Castle, and I'm like, of all the places, White Castle. But then you covered yourself like, we don't have those in Arizona. Well, then fine. First rule of travel: don't eat or drink anything. You get
Plus, it was 12:45 at night.
What are you going to find?
We had just got back from Michigan and watching a movie.
Yeah.
And we had to get gas for the car. It's a long story.
Oh, I know.
The point is we went to 7 different places first that were closed. Mm-hmm. So then we were like, let's go to White Castle. Thankfully, for my heart, White Castle was taking too long. We left.
But I'm going to fuck your heart up in about an hour here. So there's for the Chicagoans in the room here, Johnny's Beef is the top Italian beef in the city, or at least, but it's out here in the burbs over here in Elmwood Park. So Anthony Bourdain, the late Anthony Bourdain, swore by the place. It's the kind of he would come to the city, eat here, and leave. He would not go to any Michelin starred restaurant in the city. He's like, I want that fucking sandwich.
Oh,
so we're going there. We're going there.
Nice.
Hit us with the outro, man.
All right. So you guys know what to do. Follow us on Twitter at Cinephile Fit and on Facebook at Cinephile Hissy Fit's podcast. Also find us both on Letterboxd. Thank you so much for your captive audience and social media participation. It just sounds so much more scripted when we're in person, doesn't it? Because we're like talking to each other, looking each other in the eyes, and then I'm like reading Cinephile Hissy
off
Fits.
of my laptop in a kitchen table mounted on a refrigerator rack. We'll get a picture of this setup here.
Cinephile Hissy Fits is a 25YL media podcast brought to you by RuminationsRadioNetwork.com. Please visit, rate, review, and subscribe if you enjoyed this show. We have more where that came from.
Oh, we can just
pause for a picture.
Yeah,
we have more where that came from with interesting hosts and wonderful guests. All available on iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere you find your favorite shows.
Look at that.
Nice.
What's up, gang? This is Hoptimus. You've been listening to one of the great new podcasts from Ruminations Radio Network. If you want some more tasty sound vibes, come check out my new podcast, The Retro Futurist Culture, where we talk about alternate timelines, cyberpunk, anime, and other crazy worlds. If that does not strike your fancy, we have plenty of other great shows at RuminationsRadioNetwork.com.